Hello there everybody, it's Goodnight to Weekend. Welcome back to Higurashi, the third one. So we are going to continue exactly where we left off. In the last episode, we had ourselves a bit of a moment with Satoshi, Rika, and Satoko. Wait, Satoshi, why the fuck did I say Satoshi? I meant Keiichi, fuck. I was literally trying to figure out shit about Satoshi. We learned a little bit about Satoshi in the previous episode, and we had a moment with Keiichi, Satoko, and Rika. Get your fucking words right, you dumb fuck. I am an idiot. Oh. Anyway, let's go ahead and continue off where we left off. Okay, anyway, lunchtime has finally arrived. Mion gleefully announced the beginning of lunch. Oh yeah, that's right, we had ourselves a little bit of a thing going on here.
Oh, lunchtime at last. Someone here will have to play the punishment game, yes? The punishment this time, it's a little scary, so... Sorry, but Reina went all out making her bento.
In Reina's case, I don't think she'd lose even if she wasn't taking it seriously.
Meep. We tried our hardest too. Satoko and Rika-chan made separate lunches today? Usually you have the same bento, but that won't do for the showdown today, will it? Yes, it's quite alright. Rika and I made sure to make separate ones. Wow, Satoko-chan and Rika-chan both tried really hard. How exciting!
My throat's a little messed up today, so sorry if these voices are kind of terrible. I mean, they are terrible to be honest, but whatever.
What's a little surprising is that Kei-chan was able to make a bento. Good job, Kei-chan. It looks like you really can do it if you try.
I scratched my head and gave her a dry smile. My bento today had been made entirely by Satoko last night. It had none of my personality, so there wasn't anything there that they could praise me for.
What does Keiichi-kun's bento look like? I can't wait to see.
Don't expect too much. It's just the leftover rice and side dishes from last night.
Leftovers are the foundation of bentos. Oh, now we'll know your dinner last night too. We'll kill two birds with one stone.
Was it really better to hide the fact that Satoko came over and made dinner last night? Well, of course it was. If I revealed that I didn't make my own bento, I'd be sure to end up playing the punishment game. Today's punishment game was to stand right in front of the curry maniac Chie-sensei and say bad things about curry. Eesh. It wasn't too different from telling someone to jump out of a 100th story window. It was exactly the same as telling someone to die.
But me-chan, how will we decide who wins and loses the bento showdown? Keiichi-kun made his own too, so maybe we should call it a draw for today? We could do that. The punishment game yesterday was sort of a whip to encourage Keiichi-san to cook for himself after all. And Keiichi made his own too, so it's a draw.
My simple bento with last night's leftovers could have never stood up to everyone else's bento that they made to win. I fully understood Satoko and Rika-chan's concern for me as they tried to end the showdown peaceably. However, the club president Mion Sonozaki would not be convinced by something like that.
I wonder why you're all so optimistic. Leaving one of our showdowns such gray areas out of the question. Now that we've clashed, we must settle the score. Reconciling with a draw only happens in the Yakuza world.
Says the girl who is the head of the Yakuza. I knew you'd say that. There's no way you'd end it that way with your battle lust. This is bad. At this rate, I was sure to be the sore loser. The sole loser. I don't know. But, well, I didn't make this bento after all. Maybe I need to resign myself to my inevitable loss.
Okay, me. How are we going to decide who wins? It won't be fair if we grade each other's. Let's do an open judgment. Okay, everyone. Assemble!
Mion commanded everyone who had just started eating using her club president voice. Oh, the whole class?
Come and judge our 5 bento. Write your favorite 3 on a piece of paper and submit it. Understand?
Everyone in the class was used to being dragged into Mion's club activities. Yeah, came the energetic voices from here and there. Everyone already knew that the showdown this time involved an utterly fatal punishment game, and they were all very interested in what would happen to whoever lost. Of course, they wanted the thrill of seeing something terrifying.
Okay, everyone ready? Then I'll go first, alright? Ta-da!
In exaggerated fashion, Mion pulled the lid off her multi-tiered ornate bento box. Multiple cheers of joy erupted at the brilliant sight.
That's amazing! It's just like New Year's food.
It can't be. It has to be a lie. She must have switched the contents with the catered bento. Such purely Japanese cooking. Mion! Mion Sonozaki couldn't possibly make this.
Nope, this is easy for Michan if she gets serious. She almost never gets serious, though. Just who do you think this old man is? Given enough time and ingredients, I could even reproduce the Manchuhan Imperial Feast.
Manchuhan? You have to look that up. The entire classroom gulped audibly, and everyone wrote down a score on the note paper in their hands simultaneously. It made sense. Just the visual impact would give her a perfect score.
Alright, let's see Reina's next. Reina's really good at cooking. Reina's bento is always like a flower arrangement. Thanks, everyone. I'll reveal my bento now.
Reina's bento was a beautiful mix of the two colors of eggs and minced meat, and it too was a bento staple, the Saburo bento. She had been through with the side dishes as well, and they were abundant in number. She had spent more time than usual on it, but it was unassuming and truly nonchalant. One couldn't ignore the household warmth in it that Mion's bento lacked.
If I may say, you've done it again. This should get quite a high score. I should have known. It may look rigid, but there isn't anything to deduct points from. Amazing as always.
Once again, every one of the judges wrote a score on their note paper at the same time. There seemed to be some who were revising their opinions when they compared it to Mion's score, too. The whole classroom seemed split between Mion and Reina. And on everyone's faces, it was clear that they all wanted to be tasting them rather than scoring them.
Then we'll be next. Yes, I will now reveal mine.
Come to think of it, Satoko and Rika-chan ate with me last night at my house. It was impressive that they still made a bento. They must have stayed up a little extra. Both their bentos were clearly lacking compared to Mion's artfulness and Reina's perfection. However, because of that, you could sense from them how hard they worked. The toppings were a little on the rough side, but you could still feel that they tried their hardest. It made you feel a little biased so that you'd give them more points. A few people struck by that just once again revised their opinions and wrote in their scores on their note paper. Satoko, Rika-chan, you both made really good bentos today. They might not measure up to Reina or Mion's craftsmanship, but when you think about that, they're pretty amazing. Satoko and Rika-chan glanced at each other and grinned happily.
This is a secret, okay? Mutter, mutter.
Eh? What? When Satoko told me, I broke off from the others and secretly looked for my classmates' bento boxes. There, Tamida-kun and Okumura-kun's bento boxes. I took a quick peek inside and... half the contents were missing. Not bad. In the end, Satoko and Rika-chan hadn't made bento today. A bold move. They got Tomita-kun and Okumura-kun to share their bentos with them. Hey, Tomita-kun, Okumura-kun, how did they buy you out? What are you saying, Mahabara-san? When did we get bought out, and for what? That's right. It's not like we traded them our duty watering the garden for half our bentos. Curse you, Satoko. What an impudent trick. Satoko grinned, showing her fang-like canines, and laughed in triumph. Ooh, you evil little girl.
Oh, this is only something I learned from you, Keiichi-san. Yes.
How naive, buying them out with watering duty alone. They're men. If you're going to buy them out, you need to use something a lot spicier than that. For example, like giving them 3 tickets to walk Satoko and Rika-chan around like dogs all day, with them on all fours, wearing tails, and with leashes around their necks. Hey! Whoa! That might be enough to get me to do anything. As I was lost in my wild fantasies, Mion clapped me on the shoulder and called me back to reality. Damn, it was just getting good. You are weird, dude. Seriously, Keiichi, what the hell?
Alright, next up is Kei-chan's bento. We're all hoping for something pretty great because of your declaration yesterday, but how did it really turn out? Keiichi-kun can do it if he needs to. Reina was really excited for today.
They're all looking forward to it. But it's really just leftovers from dinner last night. I didn't even make it either. How is that supposed to stand up to Mion and Reina and the others? That's it. Feast your eyes on this. Ha! I tore the lid off my bento box. There weren't very many cheers. Well, I guess there wouldn't be.
Keiichi-kun, you tried your hardest too. Reina can tell how hard you worked.
Reina, don't feel like you need to compliment me.
How did this happen? Was Keiichi-san actually a hard worker after all? Well, I mean, I want to acknowledge how hard you tried, but for this showdown, it doesn't matter.
Mion's cold, mean laugh. It was like it spoke for everyone's opinion, just like that.
Keiichi-kun did really well considering it was his first challenge, you know. I think maybe everyone should rate his a little higher. But for the showdown, it doesn't matter. Alright, Kei-chan. If you have any last words before we tally up the results, I'll listen to them now.
What do you mean by last words?
I mean that you might be hoping for a few extra points if you appeal somehow to the crowd. After all, for today's showdown, you just need to avoid coming in last. If you do well enough, then maybe you'll be able to worm out of the punishment game. You are implying that Keiichi-san's bento is going to take last place, aren't you? No, this old man wasn't trying to say anyone's bento came in last or anything.
Liar. Mion cackled repulsively. In contrast, Satoko's smile was growing somehow awkward. Oh, right. This bento was filled with last night's side dishes. That means it was basically a bento that Satoko made. And Mion outright said it would come in last place. Oh, that's mean.
Mii-chan, aren't you being a little mean? Poor Keiichi-kun. Reina, Kei-chan knew he couldn't lose today's bento showdown beforehand, did he? He did all that grandstanding yesterday, well aware of that. I don't think there's any reason to go easy on him, do you? Right, Satoko? Yes, you're right. And he came here with this mess. It makes me laugh. Wait, Satoko-chan, you can't laugh at him. But that bento is just so ridiculous, I can't help but laugh. These side dishes look like they were bought from a shop. It's really disillusioning. Look, this one was just taken out of a can, wasn't it? This cucumber here isn't cut cleanly, like the knife didn't go all the way through. Kei-chan, you never used a knife, did you? Your lack of experience is apparent. No, this goes beyond a simple lack of experience. This presentation is fairly monotonous as well. It's almost a shock to see such a lack of taste.
It was my first experience putting food into a bento box, so of course it's not going to look too good.
Kei-chan, there's a bigger problem than how you put it into the box. Tomita, Okumura, explain, please.
Tomita-kun and Okumura-kun were chosen from our many underclassmen. Tomita-kun had quickly adjusted his glasses and took a step forward. The fatal flaw in Mayabara-san's bento is the coloration. As you know, there are 3 primary colors forming the basis of all colors. So if you want a well-balanced color scheme, then excluding white and black, you need those 3 colors. And nevertheless, if you remove the white and black from Mayabara-san's bento, all that would be left is dark green. Dark green. No one wants to eat it if you describe it like that. I'd forgotten. Tomita-kun and Okumura-kun had been bought out by Rika-chan and Satoko, so they were trying their hardest to let them win and make me lose, weren't they? Gah, what strong wills they have. It was charming if only because they were working so hard despite having been bought out. The side dishes have no spirit in them either. They're all pre-packaged or canned food. In other words, out of the 3 necessary requirements for bento, love, spirit, and taste, we can assert that Mayabara-san's bento is lacking 2 of these. The classroom, convinced by the elucidation of the mystery that they were thoroughly baffled with, raised mysterious groans of admiration. This feels really bad because it's also kind of insulting Satoko, and I don't like that.
No heart and no spirit. It's decided then. Keiichi Mayabara. This may sound cold, but if you realized how much fun cooking is because of all this, Keiichi-kun, isn't that enough? In any case, everything is fine as long as I'm not doing the punishment game.
Reina was giving a dry ee-hee-hee smile as well.
It's been settled, Keiichi-san. You're going to be the one doing the punishment game.
She laughed in such a vile manner, but she didn't look like she meant it. I knew that Satoko was speaking ill of a bento that she'd practically made herself in front of the whole classroom, and I can tell how painful that laughter was. Okumura-kun said before that this bento lacked spirit, but among all the bento laid out here today, there wasn't a single one with much spirit as this one. This meal that she made for me yesterday in such a good mood, though it looked like she was in a bad mood. I won't let it end with this slander.
Well then, last place, Keiichi-san. Please admit your honest defeat already.
Could you wait just a moment? When I began to speak in a low voice, the expressions of all the members of the club changed. Mion clicked her tongue. This man was baring his fangs at the last moment again. My bento was defeated because it lacked spirit. That's how you explained it. Am I wrong, Okumura-kun? Okumura-kun, who had suddenly been placed in the spotlight, looked flustered for a moment, but immediately he stammered in reply that I was right. How do you measure spirit? By difficulty? By effort? By sweat or tears? By its manifestation? Then how would you rate these burns that are still on my hands?
Whoa! Keiichi-kun, those are oil burns!
Great. The burn marks from when I almost caused a fire accident looked like I was having looked just like I was having a ton of trouble cooking. I could clearly tell that the classroom was forced to acknowledge the effort I put into it.
I see. To turn your failures at cooking due to a lack of skill into scars of hard work instead. As I thought, I cannot falter around this man.
That's right. I lack skill. I'm so bad at cooking that my grandstanding yesterday was pitiful. But I didn't run away. I fought, and I delivered these results. Is that not spirit? What do you think?
Reina wants to acknowledge it. Nobody can keep on going if their defiant spirit doesn't get valued.
The girls in the class started to nod in agreement. Okay, the tables are turning. But Tomita-kun and Okumura-kun, bought out by the object of their unrequited affection, weren't about to lose either. They shifted to the counterattack, clearly exceeding the price they were paid. I see. I understand your feelings, Mayabara-san. However, if spirit was all that mattered in cooking, the world wouldn't need chefs.
That is right. If a chef bought you burnt steak and said they put their spirit into it and tried hard, would you pay them? You wouldn't, would you? It's the same thing.
That's right. That's how it goes. The male students took Tomita and Okumura-kun's side. God, they did have a point. What about consideration? Even if you did get a totally black steak, if I knew how much the mother who made it struggled, I would eat it. I would eat it all. This time, the female students in the class took my side. Good. Now we're even. Besides, a bento is a refinement of one's love given form.
It only means something when the other person feels that way. Does your bento make us feel that way, Mayabara-san?
No, it doesn't make me feel that way.
You're mean.
The girls in the class began to boo loudly at his remark. Now even Okumura-san was panicking.
Order. Will the spectators please refrain from making remarks?
Your Honor, in order to prove how much of my spirit has gone into this bento, I call Mrs. Ryugu Reina, an authority in the culinary arts, to the stand. Holy shit, did we just turn into a court? I literally just finished recording a video about a friggin' court class trial. Shit!
Reina thinks that this bento has spirit in it. It might be rather artless in places, but I think cooking isn't just about outward appearances.
The girls in the class again gave cries of support as they all applauded. In response, all the men in the class began to boo. Your Honor, the opinions of Mayabara-san and Ryugu-san are extremely sentimental and ought in following with common sense. They are unsuitable to use as evidence.
Order. The prosecution's objection is sustained. Go ahead.
Let's replace the bento in question with a birthday present, for example. Let's say on my birthday, I, Tomita, received a hand-knitted sweater, and he, Akamura, oh, that's how it's pronounced, Akamura, okay, received a bookstore gift certificate for 10,000 yen. That felt strangely real. Was it actually just an example? Common sense dictates which of them has the spirit. It is, of course, the hand-knitted sweater. If we went back to the bento, this would be handmade side dishes. And the gift certificate, which is nothing more than money, allows you to buy things. In other words, it's the same as simple, meaningless, canned goods. The boys and girls all began to argue amongst themselves about presents. They were all talking about what they received as presents in the past. Damn! Tomita-kun, he changed the subject to something that could easily grab everyone's attention. Not bad. I'll lose the initiative at this rate. Objection! This matter regards the spirit put into the bento. It is entirely different from birthday presents as they are each unique situations.
Overruled. Will the prosecution please continue?
Damn! Now then, what's important here is the fact that the spirit of the giver and spirit of the receiver are totally different. Between the handmade sweater that looks like a little bit askew and the 10,000 yen bookstore gift certificate placed here before your very eyes, which would you say is the better choice? The gift certificate, right? It's 10,000 yen. 10,000. Can you calculate how many comic books you could buy with that? You could instantly complete a full collection if it was around 10 volumes long. Dozens of happy, humor, slightly perverted manga. The bliss of your soothed heart can't be compared to the sweater. The boys unanimously praised that with applause. Materialistic brats. But all guys that age are like that. Even I would choose the gift certificate over the sweater in that case. Hey, wait, weren't you the ones who said it was about love, spirit, and taste right at the start? Since when did taste trump all? That's the stance they were taking now. I believe this demonstrated that the spirit of the giver and the spirit of the receiver have no casual relationship. Yes. Causal relationship, sorry. No matter how much Mayabara-san struggled to make this bento, that cannot enter in consideration for the rest of us on the receiving end. More sophistry, Tomita-kun. It has plenty of spirit. And whether that gets through or not is the receiver's problem. That's right. Boo. Taste is more important. Enemy of women. What was that? Ugly? Good lord. Now the courtroom is in chaos. But I can't allow myself to lose. And not only to avoid the punishment game, but also to protect Sachiko's honor.
Now then, do the defendants have a response to give?
Slowly and strongly, I nod and step up to the dais. Tomita-kun, Okamaru-kun, do you two really think you can beat me with mere words? The prosecution just said that we should value the gift without basing it on the spirit of the giver, correct? At some point, I began speaking formally. Yes, that's right. No matter how much you labor to make that bento, that labor should not factor into our grading. And then I have a question for the prosecution. If I, Mayabara, were to take the bento I made for today and placed it beside one bought from the store, would both of these be given the same score? The prosecution hesitated to speak. Got ya! That's right. A convenience store bento doesn't even come close to a homemade one. No matter how badly made it is, it has far more spirit than a bento that you just bought would ever have. You see, that spirit is being graded. Meaning the spirit the cook put into the bento has already reached the recipients. Admit it. Boom! With those impactful words drawn in the air behind me, I pointed my finger. The girls, led by Reina, broke into applause. Some of the boys were admitting it too. I'll admit it. You admitted it? You admitted it, right? Then let's move to why a convenience store bento has no spirit in it. What exactly is the spirit of a bento in the first place? Objection! Mayabara-san is trying to deceive the court by using abstract expressions.
Objection overruled. This sounds interesting, so listen until he's done. Got them.
Now I'll show you the difference between us. Your Honor, I'd like to call Miss Rika Furude to the stand as a witness.
Neat.
Even for Rika-chan, that must have seemed like a bolt from the blue. There's no doubt that she never dreamed the point of my spear would be aiming at her. But Rika-chan, you said it before. For this showdown, it doesn't matter. Rika Furude-san, your bento today was very well made. It looks delicious.
Meep?
Yes. Satsuko and Rika-chan's bentos have been made of half of Tomita-kun's and Okumura-kun's. I'm gonna keep saying Okumura because I'm used to saying that, goddamn. The prosecutors' faces turned pale, but they were too late. Reina, would you bring Okumura Fuck! Fuck it, I'm gonna go stick with friggin' Okumura. Okumura-kun's bento over here.
Huh? Okay, sure.
Your Honor, my bento has no relevance to this case.
Overruled.
Your Honor, I submit Okamuru-kun's bento box as evidence. I can't... I'm gonna try to say Akamura. Akamura. I'm gonna try to keep saying Akamura properly. Look at it. Look at what's inside.
There's only half in there.
It's not about whether there's half. Please, look a little more closely. See?
They're exactly the same.
Your Honor, you've seen it. Miss Rika Furude's bento is stolen from Akamura-kun's. There is no way such a thing could have spirit in it.
No.
But that's just a coincidence. It's already obvious. Spirit. It's a game of catch between the giver and the receiver. The bento box, then, is the ball. That bento was something Akamura was given, from mother to son. That means Akamura-kun is the only one who can feel the spirit from this bento box. Now that it's been disturbed and been stolen, it no longer has that spirit. Dun dun dun!
Yeah, that did it. Huh? What? Is that true? Rika-chan, is that true? Neep. Neepa.
I see how it is. Mion, the judge, folded her arms and began to hum. I couldn't even take a guess as to what Mion was laughing about. Frankly, I didn't know whether I would win or lose.
Okay. Before announcing my judgment, I'll start from the top.
Shh. The entire classroom quieted.
First, from an objective standpoint, there is no doubt that the bento of the accused, Keiichi Maebara, must be seen as poorly made. This is something that the grading results clearly display. But, as Kei-chan said, cooking is not all about taste. The spirits put into it should be considered subtle seasoning. For grading, though, that would only amount to a few points. It's so subtle that it's not enough to alter the results. And now then, I'd like to mention the original reason for today's bento showdown. What was the reason for it?
That's right.
We started to see whether the accused, Keiichi Maebara, could cook for himself and to measure the result. Yeah, that's right. Keiichi-kun did make his own bento.
That stung my consciousness a bit, but for the showdown it didn't matter.
So the whole basis behind the showdown was to cook a meal for yourself. In other words, whether or not the meal was homemade. Rika-chan neglecting to do that is a much bigger problem than how good her bento is. In other words, is she disqualified? Nipa.
Rika-chan let out a nipa, looking as though she had prepared herself for this outcome. Don't take it personally, Rika-chan. At our club, things like that don't matter.
Keiichi did well, like I thought. You tried your hardest until the very end.
Rika-chan demanded I lower my head, then she pet it.
With that over with, this case is closed. Today, last place goes to Rika Furude.
Damn! That miraculous turnaround. And last place went to Rika-chan, the one everyone had least expected. The whole classroom went wild.
I'm amazed you managed to avoid coming in last place with such a terrible bento.
Satoko looked at me hatefully, but spoke in a vague kind of voice. There's no way I'd come in last. There's nothing in this bento that would deserve last place.
But it's got ready-made side dishes and canned goods, and it has no style, and...
Grab. Satoko was speaking more and more poorly of herself as time went on, so I roughly grabbed her head and began to stroke it. I told you, spirit is important. This bento isn't all about appearance. It's got all kinds of flavors in it.
But spirit isn't the only thing. It tastes totally weird and...
What about it is weird? I thought it was great. It was absolutely great. That's why I packed it. If dinner last night had been bad, then I would have never brought it to school. I would have come here with some bread and a milk carton.
But...
Oh, just shut up already. I caressed her head, swinging it from side to side. At some point, Reina had come up behind us. She was giggling to herself. That was the face of someone who had known everything from the beginning. When did you realize I hadn't made it?
When you showed us your burns, I guess. I mean, there's nothing in your bento that you needed oil for. Reina-san, don't you think you are misunderstanding something? I didn't do anything. Huh? Satoko-chan, you weren't the one who made this bento. Then did Keiichi-kun make it by himself after all? Okay, then I guess he did.
Reina smiled roguishly and turned from Satoko to me.
When you cut cucumbers, you hold the knife like this and go like this. As for the colors, you can express all sorts of things if you place vegetables in the right way.
This lecture was clearly not meant for me.
But you've gotten a lot better since the last time you showed us. I see you've been studying. If you keep this up, I bet you'll be able to make better and better dishes in no time.
She continued saying words clearly meant for Satoko while facing me instead. Satoko was wearing an ambiguous look and couldn't even nod her head at her.
Anyway, no matter what anyone says, I like
the way my bento is today. I'm not gonna share it with anyone else either. I'll eat the whole thing by myself.
Whoa, how greedy. Reina wants to try some too.
As we were going back and forth, Satoko rubbed her eyes as though she was drowsy, then announced to Mion and everyone else.
Excuse me, the truth is, I got Tomita-san and to give me some of his bento.
Stupid.
Hojo, what are you saying? If she'd kept it a secret, then at least she would have been saved.
Tomita-kun looked at her with an expression filled with regret and surprise.
Huh? Is that true? Really? Oh my.
Mion spun her finger around, then pointed to the hallway, sending Satoko to the punishment game as well. Satoko left the classroom behind her, completely prepared as though she was going with Rika-chan on an errand.
I can't let Rika go alone. I will accompany her to the very depths of hell. You don't need to go that far. My word, Keiichi-san really is terrible too. Humiliating only Rika like that. He is truly a rotten person.
I didn't mean... I couldn't just return Satoko's kindness with malice.
Hey, Satoko really is silly.
Rika-chan spoke so that only I could hear, grinning happily.
Now then, let us be off, Rika. Punishment games are one of our duties as club members.
Satoko seemed awfully happy, not frustrated in the slightest, like she always was when she lost. Damn. Rika-chan's right after all. Everyone here is a moron. Mion, I'll come clean too. I didn't make my bento today. I was the same. So I'm going with them. For the punishment game.
Huh? Even you, Kei-chan? What's going on? Good luck! With the punishment game, I mean. I'll get the first aid kit ready.
Call an ambulance in advance, will you? And maybe a hearse, just in case. Leaving a bewildered Mion and a happy, smiling Reina behind in the classroom, I went into the hallway.
What are you doing? You finally won for once. I had no idea you had such an odd taste for these punishment games that you'd go so far as to volunteer yourself for one.
Guess so. It's a little much for a hobby, eh?
I swear, I think you're underestimating this one. We're one thing, but grave harm might actually befall you, Keiichi-san. I hope you're ready to have 1 or 2 ribs broken.
That sounds like it would hurt. I don't like getting hurt.
Keiichi-san, you just stand there and nod along, okay? Rika and I will smooth it over. I swear, I can't believe I have to look out after you even during a punishment game. Seriously.
I already knew that her pouty behavior was a sign that she was actually in a really good mood. So it made me want to smile. Hey, I do want to eat some vegetable stir-fry. Satoko, can you make that?
What? Well, there's nothing I can't do if I put my mind to it. She can make it very well. I really like Satoko's stir-fry.
She was uneasy at first, but when she got assurance from Rika-chan, she turned back and looked at me with once more confident eyes. It's settled then. Let's go shopping for stuff after school today. I don't really have any idea what to buy after all.
That is true, isn't it? I think it's still too early for you to go shopping at the supermarket, Keiichi-san. It would make me anxious if I wasn't watching. And Satoko makes me anxious that she'll buy the wrong thing if I'm not watching. Rika! Meep.
The conversation continued as we walked until we arrived before the door to the teacher's lounge. Oh no. Okay. Let's get this punishment game over with and discuss the menu for tonight.
Meep.
Rika-chan gleefully grabbed onto my arm. In turn, I pulled Satoko to me, grabbing her shoulder with my other hand. We'll all be together in death. I won't let anyone die alone.
We're all together. I won't let anybody die alone. What an indiscreet thing to say. I want no part of something so disturbing.
She may have sounded annoyed, but she was so happy it was gonna make me blush. Alright, just beyond this door is the world after death. However, we shall return. All of us will.
Yeah, everyone will. Then let us sally forth.
This is not gonna be good. Slam! We open the doorway to the world of death. And like she did every day just as the sun rose in the eastern sky, Chie-sensei was eating curry for lunch. It was store-bought, but she made a point of eating a different brand every day. Whoa! You're Chie-sensei? You have a portrait? I was not expecting that. Why do I have... You literally... Except for the fact that your hair is blue, you literally remind me... What was that character's name? Fuck, I can't remember what it was from. Fuck, I literally have the picture of the character in my head. She had these ice powers, but she was like a sort of a stalker sort of girl. God damn it, what is she from?
Oh my. Mayabara-kun, Furude-san, and Hojo-san? Is something the matter?
She appeared to be in the middle of a moment of supreme bliss, her mouth full of her beloved curry. And we were to pick a fight with her? What a crime this punishment game would be. However, it was what we had to do. For that was the rule of our club. The three of us held each other's shoulders tightly once more. Alright, let's do this. Ready?
What do you mean, ready? Keiichi-san, you're going to stay quiet. Rika and I will handle everything. And trust your life to me for now. Go for it.
Oh, what are you all doing? We could see 2 or 3 question marks popping up above the teacher's head. Alright, Satoko. This is the only time I'll trust you with my life. Because I'll be shutting my eyes tightly and only thinking about what we'll be having for dinner. I'm leaving it to you. Satoko inhaled deeply, and so...
Hey, you over there! You curry!
Beep. What did she say? What did Sachiko say that ended up getting censored? Ugh. Damn. So that's what Chie looks like. Huh. In the end, my selfish request was readily granted. As Satoko muttered complaints under her breath, quite merrily she came with me to the store. Rika-chan didn't come with us. She said she had a thing she wanted to do or something. I believed her when she told me, but when I really thought about it, I started to think maybe she was being considerate towards Satoko in her own way. Without Rika-chan here, Satoko was prouder and more loquacious than ever.
Do you understand? Supermarkets will put things on sale when it gets near closing time. For example, you can't have a stir-fry without some pork, and if we wait a little longer, it'll be marked half off. They can't sell meat or fish once it's not fresh anymore. So they make it all cheaper in a last-ditch effort not to have anything left over. Of course, every veteran housewife is familiar with this concept, and when we get close to a happy hour like we are now.
And I wasn't really listening to her, but she was telling me all this quite proudly. Every time I seemed surprised at something, or made an affirmative grunt in place of conversation, Satoko would say,
"You don't know anything, do you, Keiichi-san?"
and smile very happily in spite of her complaints. She led me by the hand to all sorts of stalls, one after the other. She was in such a supreme mood that just being with her cheered me up. Merely being pulled into Satoko's pace was a lot of fun. Hey, why don't we just go with this economy-sized pack? Whoa, there's a really good-looking one with cheese in it over here.
Keiichi-san, you have no financial sense. Look at this. It's over our budget. We don't have enough money.
Satoko pushed a handful of receipts in my face. Why can't Satoko do these kinds of mental calculations when she's at school? Drat. Should we buy a load of the normal ones or buy fewer of the better stuff with the cheese in it? This is quite troubling.
Calm down. For boys of your age, it's wiser to choose quantity over quality.
Satoko, you're being too strict. A man's heart desires both quality and quantity. Why can't you understand that?
No matter the size of a man's heart, his wallet won't be any bigger. I swear. Hey, stop clinging to the glass so stubbornly.
After enjoying ourselves in such an exchange, we started to hear energetic voices coming from over by the butcher we visited earlier. I could see a handful of housewives flooding the place.
Oh no! If we don't hurry, all the half-off pork will be gone.
Ow, ow! Don't pull me! Don't pull on my neck! Satoko really seemed like she was having fun. She looked like a kid who had grabbed her family's hands while running towards an amusement park attraction. In the end, the bag of pork we obtained was so normal that it almost hurt, but I knew that it would taste absolutely delicious. The cicadas had come out at some point, and the Higurashi were singing in chorus. The air was so clear and it felt so good. Our silhouettes stretching out on the ground made for a really wonderful picture. We had filled our bicycles' baskets to the brim with our shopping bags. They only contained ingredients and various other foodstuffs. Even so, every last thing packed in them sort of looked really happy, and made me feel really happy in turn. Going shopping for dinner seems pretty sensible too. It makes you really enjoy your meals. I can't wait to eat.
And that's a part of cooking for yourself as well. Dinner starts while you're shopping for it.
I'm so excited for this. Vegetable stir-fry isn't even in my mom's cookbook. I never get to eat it unless we go out to a Chinese place, so I'm really looking forward to it today.
That is indeed a pity. Then today I will present you with an especially tasty dish.
Normally right about now was the time I would start messing with her, but I didn't. Yeah, I bet you'll end up making something really great. I'm really looking forward to it. She stammered for a second. Satoko had been prepared for me to start making fun of her right then too, and when it didn't come, she was surprised. Or maybe she stammered for some other reason. I don't know. But I immediately knew she wasn't feeling anything bad.
Yes, I'll deliver an extraordinarily delectable dish. You better look forward to it.
As Satoko and I rode back on our bikes, I had a thought. Was I this sort of person? Until now, I would have lashed back at Satoko right away if she did something to me. Yeah, that was the kind of relationship we had. We would poke at each other a little, then kick up a storm while nitpicking at one another. At some point, that had changed. We weren't playing our usual tit for tat. I didn't provoke her, so we didn't fight. That went for Satoko too. Satoko, who I thought I knew, hadn't been like this until now. Our relationship was changing, little by little. That's what it felt like. But it wasn't something I had to worry about. It was like our relationship had become a little bit happier, a little bit more charming. I wonder why we changed like this. Was she lonely and projecting her older brother Satoshi, who hadn't returned home, onto me? Rika-chan told me about it yesterday. That was probably exactly it. So as my actions drew closer to Satoshi's, Satoko was returning to how she'd been when she was living happily with her brother. In other words, this Satoko was the real Satoko. Satoko had been able to see her brother again, and had finally gone back to normal. Now that I'd been playing the role of her brother, I discovered that she really could smile so sweetly. But I wasn't Satoshi Hojo. I was Keiichi Maebara, a totally different person. I couldn't become her brother. I could come close, but I could never really get there. That was vaguely somehow a little sad. I was wearing Satoshi's mantle, and that would have to come off one day. And that would doubtlessly put an end to this meager, nostalgic, peaceful time of Satoko's. A limited tranquility. A tranquility that would end one day. Putting it in those terms, it really was sad. I shook my head firmly and drove off those pointless thoughts.
What's the matter, Keiichi-san?
Sorry, it's nothing.
If it's nothing, then please don't act all strange like that. It makes me worried that you might have eaten something rotten.
Right. Sorry, Satoko. Nagging like always, but she still seemed really happy. That mood of hers drew me in, putting a smile on my own face. Hey, Keiichi Maebara, why don't we quit thinking about this having to end one day? If it will, then just think about it when that happens. There was one thing, however, that I could say for sure. As long as I smiled like this, Satoko's own smile would never wane. So as long as I stay this way, this tranquility would never end. Satoshi would come back one day too. that might happen a lot further away than I'd like, but until that day, what's wrong with me being a replacement for him? Saying that I'm not her real brother so I can't become Satoshi, that was just an excuse. If I just didn't run away, Satoko would stay happy and live a fun life of annoyed nitpicking. I don't know what happened to Satoshi, or what made him abandon Satoko and run away. But just seeing Satoko in such a good mood made me think I could persevere as long as I needed to. So this is what I thought. I wouldn't become Satoshi. I would become a replacement brother. This is it! This is the kind of stir-fry I was waiting for. It's great! It's absolutely great! The salt and pepper in the broth, man! I could eat an entire pot of this!
Stop that, Keiichi-san. You're spilling food everywhere. The food isn't going to run away. You don't need to eat it so fast.
No, it will run away! The best and freshest flavors are running away from me the moment the meal is completed. If you were to make 100 delicious things, then I would have a duty to taste every one of them. It's just good manners to do so.
Your feelings are more than enough. So calm down and enjoy your food.
You're right, I'm sorry. No insults here. I meekly scratched my head, then put down my chopsticks and laughed along with her like it was funny. I ended up doing most of the eating. Satoko was barely taking a bite. She seemed satisfied just by watching me enjoy the food so much. Whenever I filled my mouth with more of her delicious meal, Satoko looked glad. That let me enjoy the food even more. In this way, she kept smiling happily the whole time. Looking at her made me really happy as well. The time passed, softly and gently. Before, I would have gone back and forth hurling insults with Satoko. In other words, we would have gone into a fight right away. I'd never known I could feel such a peace of mind by talking to her honestly like this. I was a little bit happy about having discovered this new side of Satoko. For example, I was eating food that Satoko had made. There wasn't an inch of me that thought that was suspicious. Before, however, Satoko would have definitely put some sort of trap into this. I think I ate too much. I'm gonna take a dump.
Hey, Keiichi-san, it's bad manner to say such words during a meal.
Then what should I say? I'm going to the bathroom? The toilet? The lavatory? Satoko looked down, her face bright red, and pointed down the hallway as if to say, just go already. Whoops, my old habit seems to have come back. But yeah, this wasn't all that bad either. No weird schemes, everything is just natural. And while having such utterly unguarded thoughts, I went into the bathroom. Tug. My foot caught on something string-like. Huh? Whoa! Bang, kerslam. Gah! Rattle, rattle. Geez, you okay? A kettle? Wash tubs? Satoko! She got me! I can't believe her! She always does this when I let my guard down. I can't relax for a minute around her. Still, it was kind of funny, and I didn't really feel like getting angry. Satoko, laughing uproariously, came over.
See? I knew you would fall for it sooner or later.
Why, you little... I let my guard down for 1 second and this is what I get. I picked up all the wash tubs that had hit me in the head and went to go hit Satoko with them. But then I doubled over with laughter that has been welling up within me, and so I couldn't manage it. I wish things could go on forever like this. It's not like I was having the most fun since coming to Hinamizawa or anything, but it was probably the first time that I'd spent my day so simply and comfortably. It really wasn't worth much. It was only a few hours after all. As an only child, it was my first taste of having a sibling. Just washing dishes with her felt really nice. Side by side we washed, with the experienced Satoko doing most of the work as I threw in appropriate words to add to the conversation. The scene was so commonplace, and yet so mild and warm. Maybe I had felt this kind of warmth before too, in the past. I think I've stood next to the sink with my mother like this when I was little. It made me feel nostalgic when I remembered it. It was the same sort of slow, easy time. It was tranquil. Such a quiet tranquility that the fact I wasn't uneasy about anything itself almost made me uneasy. Hey, wait, Keiichi Maebara. You feel uneasy about something just from spending time so leisurely? There's nothing at all to feel uneasy about. I mean, why would I be punished for enjoying a gentle life? I'd do anything to keep these days going, and I would never do anything bad no matter what. I'd work hard for it, endure much for it. So God, it's not much of a dream to want this kind of thing to keep on going, but can't you grant it?
Oh? Is that not the telephone? Who could it be at this hour?
Oh, you're right. I hadn't noticed until she mentioned it. I hurried to the stand up, and then ran to the phone. Who could it be at a time like this? I did feel a little like the phone had interrupted my happy moment, but I still wanted to brag about how happy the time I was spending made me, so no matter who it was on the other side. Hello? This is Mayabara speaking. Hello? Keiichi? It's your mother. Oh, hello, Mom. What is it? It's pretty late. That was a little cold of me when she was only calling because she was worried about her son. I couldn't help but give myself a dry smile.
It sounds like you're doing just fine for yourself. I was worried that you couldn't make dinner and went to bed hungry.
Nah, it worked out.
Did you make dinner properly? What did you have tonight?
It was vegetable stir-fry, rice and miso soup. Bought stuff for it at the supermarket, plus a whole bunch of side dishes just for fun. Oh yeah, listen to this. I got the pork during the sale and got it half off. The things a housewife knows, right? And also, all of that was thanks to Satoko and not something I should be proud about. But still, I couldn't help but want to boast about the dinner tonight. It seemed like Mom got the hint that I was in a really good mood.
I see. I'm so relieved that you're doing just fine.
Oh yes, another thing.
Your dad and I finished up with our job. We think we'll be back tomorrow afternoon or evening.
I see.
You did well for 2 nights. We've been pulling all-nighters too. It was a lot of work, but we managed to fill the gap in your dad's mentor event.
Cool. That's good.
Well done.
Why do my parents coming home seem so disappointing? Maybe it's... Oh... Do you think Satoko's not gonna come over anymore? I knew a little bit of the reason, of course. This tranquility I never wanted to end was about to end so readily, and it was a little painful. After being asked what kind of souvenir I wanted from Tokyo and replying that anything edible would be great, I put down the receiver and Satoko appeared, having finished cleaning up her trap. At first, Satoko was in a very good mood, but when she saw me put down the receiver with an uncertain expression, her own clouded over a bit. It seemed like she'd gotten the gist of what my phone conversation had been about.
Was that your parents, Keiichi-san?
Yeah. Mom says they'll be back tomorrow.
Oh, that's good then. I won't have to go to the trouble of making you dinner tomorrow. Now you can enjoy your meals with just your family.
No, that's not it. When I think about the dull, plain dinner table coming back tomorrow, it's a little lonely.
You sure do live in luxury. A family sitting around the dinner table is the most fun way to enjoy a meal of all.
Her brother, Satoshi, running away from home came to mind immediately. But there was no gloom in the way she said it.
It was only for 2 days, but they were very enjoyable dinners.
Well then, next time I'll go to your house to visit.
Huh?
Satoko momentarily made a happy smile, but then a second later it changed to an expression of surprise.
My house is small and it's dirty, and the kitchen isn't as good as this one.
Well, I don't mind, but, well, if you don't want to, then I won't. Satoko shook her head firmly, her whole body expressing denial. I gotta get you to teach me a whole bunch more stuff, too. I mean, I finally managed to figure out how to use the rice cooker and how to cook miso soup, after all.
That's right, isn't it? Perhaps we should use this opportunity to have you learn more about cooking.
It was so like Satoko to take this chance to proclaim that it was all for my sake. But there was no way to conceal her own enthusiasm. It was true that this gentle time would come to an end when my parents got back. There was no need to lament that, though. I can easily put the effort to continue our mild moments like this. Like yesterday, Satoko told me she didn't need to be escorted home. But Rika-chan wasn't with her tonight. She would be going home by herself. Everyone knew everyone else's faces here in Hinamizawa, so it wasn't like it was dangerous to go out at night. But it still wasn't good to send the girl on her way all alone. At the very least, that's what I thought as Satoko's older brother. I'll take you as far as the school at least. There's more lights over in that direction anyway.
It's really fine, alright? If someone bad shows up, I'll take them down with one finger.
There was no point in pressing her any more on the subject, so I took a handful of Satoko's hair and rubbed her head vigorously. Come on, Satoko, don't complain so much. Your Nini will bring you part of the way there. That's what I was about to say when I suddenly got embarrassed and my voice trailed off. Nini could only be the nickname Sachiko gave to her older brother and nothing else. I was about to use it pretty lightly, so I started to feel apologetic and a little ashamed.
Nini.
What did Sachiko just say?
Well, Keiichi-san just seems like an older brother. That is what I said. It's not quite right, but you seem kind of alike, so I just...
Sachiko laughed awkwardly and turned red in the face. Of course, I was embarrassed when I saw her too, because the fact that I was trying to act like her brother had gotten across. A warm feeling spread out from my chest. It was completely different from romantic feelings, or any of those more impatient emotions. It was much more graceful, quiet and warm, and calm. Sachiko still needed her Nini. I initially thought Rika-chan was being sly by not coming today, but when I thought about it like this, I could feel a kind thoughtfulness of her worrying about a good friend's feelings. Maybe Rika-chan had understood that she couldn't play the part of a brother herself. So then... No, let's stop there, Keiichi Maebara. There's no point in thinking about it so hard. It means everyone feels the same way. It means everyone wants Sachiko to be happy. Sachiko is acting as though her Nini running away from home didn't bother her at all, even though that wasn't actually the case. She was very sad and always waiting for him to come home. Because Sachiko was a stable person when she was his sister. In order for her to really be this level-headed, having a brother was something she couldn't do without. In other words, Sachiko still needed a brother. Nobody had the right to smile it away as childish immaturity. In fact, they deserved praise for being so close to each other as siblings. That role of brother should be played by her real Nini, by Satoshi. But unfortunately, he wasn't here. So since I'm here, I'll play the part. And not with a guilty conscience, but in a very natural way. Because... was there something wrong with seeing Sachiko smile so happily?
What is it, Keiichi-san? You've been smirking for quite a while now.
Is it weird for me to look happy?
It isn't weird or anything, but, well...
The sound of the motor on her bike light was too loud and I couldn't hear what Sachiko said. Huh? What? What did you say?
Nothing. You really are just like Nini, you know? Keiichi-san.
Is that right?
Of course, you're completely different from my real Nini. But, like, there's things. Things that you do the same. It's really a mystery.
The same? Do you feel lonely when you remember Nini? Once I said that, I thought for a moment that was absolutely the wrong thing to say. But Sachiko didn't seem to mind one bit.
It's not that I'm lonely, since Keiichi-san is being my Nini for me right now.
As I was flustered for a moment at her hitting the mark, Sachiko suddenly asked me a question in a calm voice. It was a very quiet, composed, and adult question.
Was it Rika?
It was quiet, but her voice sounded lonely somehow.
Didn't Rika ask you to act like my Nini for me?
Is that what you think?
Please don't take offense. Rika is strangely considerate of me. But it really doesn't bother me that much.
I could say for sure that at least was a lie. Yesterday and today, Sachiko had been so happy spending time like this with me as siblings. And that was proof itself that she was lying about it not getting to her. So I gave Sachiko a light poke in the head. You're thinking too much, dummy. I'm me, Keiichi Maebara. I'm not your Nini, not Satoshi Hojo.
I know that.
Despite her saying that, her expression seemed a little lonesome. At this point, Sachiko herself had realized that her question had been the wrong thing to say. We didn't need to keep talking about something that Sachiko regretted. So in order to cut the conversation short, I grabbed Sachiko's head and pet her. Let's not talk about silly things like that. It's getting late, so get back home, brush your teeth, and go to bed. And rinse your mouth before sleeping too. It'll keep you from getting a cold.
You're the one to talk, Nini. Be sure to brush your teeth, okay? Rinse your mouth and wash your hands, then get your books ready tomorrow. And...
I wonder what kind of siblings Sachiko and Satoshi were. I've never seen them together, but I could say without a doubt that they were really close. As for the way in which they were close, it was probably quite like this. It was so cool that day that the day's heat seemed like a lie, and yet the moonlight was somehow faintly warm. The quiet chorus of the insects was pleasing to the ears. Oh, that was like the sweetest chapter I think I've ever read. And I keep reminding myself that this is a horror story. I don't want to remember that this is a horror story. That is just so freaking nice. Shit. Okay, let's read the new tips. Satoko's Trap Course, Intermediate. Oh, is this continuing with the mountain trip? I could see Tomita-kun and Okamura-kun walking over to the gym storehouse. They needed to get the bag of lime used to make the lines on the court for our next gym class. They were on duty today, after all. But in that storehouse, a terrible trap was awaiting them. Being on this side of the trap for once is really thrilling.
Oh, if you realize that is the true pleasure of setting up traps, then you have the potential yourself, Keiichi-san.
Oh, this is gonna be bad. The two of them fumbled around with the gym storehouse's lock. Oh? What's this? Okamura-kun pointed at part of the door and started whispering Tomita-kun. Then, realizing something, they both jumped away from the door. Oh, Sachiko, I think they found out. Did we mess up?
I had calculated that they would notice the trap at the entrance. And of course I've calculated what action they will take now.
Sachiko, you are an evil genius. According to Sachiko, after they noticed the suspicious trap on the door, they would go around and try to get in through the back window. And just as she'd prophesied, they went around to the back. And just as she'd prophesied, they climbed up, opened the window, and tried to sneak in. Wow. Amazing. Everything's exactly like you said. It got them! Poof, poof. An explosion of pure white lime burst out of the window. After a few moments, the two of them managed to crawl away from the window, both of them completely white.
Oh, this is the moment I live for. It tastes like honey.
But still, that was some trap. You would have had to know everything to set up something like that up. Where they'd put their hands, their legs, where they'd jump down.
Listen carefully, Keiichi-san. The first step to making a trap is to watch and observe the victim. You must scrupulously predict their movement patterns, how they'll move at any given moment. If you do that, then you can achieve the greatest possible results with only the most minimal trap.
Come to think of it, before Sachiko read the final move at that final moment earlier, Mion had given her high praise, saying she had the makings of a genius. So it's all about reading the opponent. So then, the traps you've caught me in before, they worked because you figured out everything I do?
Yes, I can see right through all your actions, and that's how I set them up. So if one day you suddenly started having different habits and behavior, I wouldn't be able to do anymore.
Bragging that she could anticipate everything I do, that was kind of mean. Okay then, let's play a game now. I want to test whether your predictions are accurate.
Yes, that is fine with me. Keiichi-san, you are particularly easy to get a read on. I could do it before breakfast.
When we went back to the classroom, Sachiko tore off pieces of paper and wrote something on the back of them, making 3 cards. Of course, I didn't know what she'd written.
Please pick one of these cards, Keiichi-san. If you do not pick one that says, "You're a loser," you will win.
Great, you're on. The club has built up my sensitivity to this stuff, so I'll smash right through your predictions. Sachiko smirks and holds out the 3 cards. Set your mind to full power by calming it, Keiichi Mayabara. Cool and collected is how you'll win. If I don't pick the losing one, I win. Which means if I do pick it, Sachiko will win. In other words, Sachiko wants to make me pick the losing one. What would she do to make sure I pick the losing one? Could she even predict something like that? Statistically speaking, isn't there some rule that says I'm more likely to pick the one in the middle or the ones on either side? I'm gonna guess she wrote down lose on all of them. And then it hits me with like a flash. This is what Mion would do.
Now, which one will you pick?
I've made my decision, and it is this one.
Huh? What are you doing?
I steal all 3 cards from Sachiko's hands. I predicted what Sachiko would do in advance. Sachiko wanted to make sure I picked the losing one. which meant all 3 of these were losing ones. And that's how I knew. Allow me to look at all 3. I flip all 3 cards face up, and on each one there is a single word. You're a loser. What is this? You're a loser? Huh?
It means just what it says. If you had only chosen one, you wouldn't have lost.
Oh, god damn it. That's clever. What? Then you predicted that I'd draw all 3? I held my head up in my hands and fainted as Satoko reveled at the might of her abilities. Her shrill laughter echoed throughout the classroom. And then there was a poof of lime as lime powder came down upon Satoko's head. I looked to see Tomita-kun and Okumura-kun all in white dumping a whole bag of lime powder on her, getting their revenge. Oh shit! Hojo, you're the only one who could have set up a trick like that.
Well, excuse me. Would you happen to have any proof? And I'd like it if you didn't call me something so inelegant. A trick. And I would prefer you call it something more refined. A trap, please.
Payback!
Oh, fuck. Keiichi-san, help me!
Our underclassmen crashed around the classroom in furious combat, getting white lime everywhere. Hey, Satoko. Why couldn't you see this coming exactly? At the time, I hadn't seen something coming too, though. The teacher coming to me afterward and giving us all a stern talking to? Ugh. Holy shit, I'm honestly loving this. This is... I know shit's gonna go down. Bad shit is gonna happen, and I'm gonna be very upset if it happens to Satoko. Like, I really don't want that to happen. I really don't. Good lord, these chapters were really good. Like, literally, forget freaking Mion and Reina at this point. I just, fuck, this... If this chapter's idea was to make you freaking fall in love with this little Satoko, then it succeeded. It succeeded with passing marks. Like, perfect score there. Fuck! I'm gonna stop my cursing there for a moment. I deeply apologize that I cursed a lot. But this is, in my opinion, it's very well written. There might be critics that say it's bad, but guess what? I don't give a shit. I do not care what their opinions are. I'm finding myself enjoying this. And half of me says I can't wait to get started on the next chapter, and half of me says I just want to leave it here because that is just, it's too nice, and I don't want to spoil it with like all the bad stuff that's probably gonna happen. But I'm not gonna lie, that was a really, really good chapter. Like, that was really good. So I know I'm gonna sleep with happy thoughts tonight. That was really nice. So thank you guys so much for listening, and this was a really good chapter. So I will see you guys in the next video, which will be Danganronpa, and then back and forth between this and that, and also in 7 days. I think it's 7 days. I have to check Steam. But apparently, if my thoughts are correct, in 7 days, Umineko comes out. So that will be my next visual novel, while we're waiting for the next Higurashi to come out. So the next one I'll be doing is Umineko. I can't wait for that. But anyway, again, I'm just going to repeat myself. Thank you guys so much for listening, for joining me on this, and I will see you all in the next video.